I really enjoyed working on last week's thought on CRT. It was the prime example of everything I love about making these videos. I am a very normal person. I am filled to the brim with preconceptions, biases, and unfounded opinions. I was scrolling through Twitter yesterday and I saw that meme about CRT and it upset me. I grew up in the color-blind ideal, never even thinking about race, and all this focus on race is dragging us backward. Suffice to say, my first draft was much more critical than what I ended up posting. I pride myself on being a fence-sitter. I define my position as radical centrism. Any belief that anyone has, up to and including racism, is based on some truth. It's my role to dig until I find that truth to discover where exactly the belief went wrong. Clearly understanding that point of divergence is the only way to separate a whole integrated person from a belief that has become part of that whole. So whenever I write a criticism, I want to write it explicitly for people who support what I'm criticizing. I want to give full credit to the truth it is based on, then I want to be as clear and precise as possible about where I disagree. People think in different ways, but a majority of people think by talking. That's why therapy is so helpful. Having someone trained to ask the right questions and listen while you discover your own answers is the best way for most people to learn. I have slowly been developing the skill of thinking onto a blank page. I love writing. First, writing allows me to articulate my beliefs. In articulating a belief, you take a fuzzy picture that exists in the back of your head and you start to find out exactly where the edges are. On CRT, I had a fuzzy picture of injecting race into every discussion of every event and every interaction. Race is not a critical factor in most events or interactions, so CRT must be wrong. But by articulating, I was able to separate a reasonable belief that race is often important from an unreasonable belief that race is always the most important. Second, writing inspires me to learn more about things I don't quite understand. I already had a definition of CRT in my head, but when I wrote it down, I realized it was based on nothing. And with the world's knowledge at my fingertips, all I needed to do to find a better definition was click a button. I didn't exactly do a deep dive, but I read several sources about critical theory and its original historical context with a curious mind and an open heart. And, surprise surprise, I gained a lot of respect for those ideas, which I hope came across in the way I wrote about them. Let me tell you, if you like thinking and are fascinated by ideas and are not already writing, I could not recommend it more highly. I have learned my lesson over and over. Every time I look more closely at a position I oppose, I discover a truth at its base. But my radical centrism is a very challenging position to maintain in the face of some of the absolute nonsense that comes out of some mouths. It takes active conscious effort. And it's worth it. Thank you for spending some time with a man with no shoes. Please like and subscribe if you got anything out of it, leave a comment if you have any thoughts worth sharing, and join me next week to debate book bans.